Chapter 350, Devouring Angel. The vice leader was clearly very pleased with Hua Yuao's behavior. This was definitely a very pleasant development to her. The fact that he was able to crush his opponent in this tournament meant that the Holy Ghost Church wouldn't need to fall out with the noble faction and the military, and everything would go according to plan. Moreover, the existence of a super genius like Hua Yuao who signified the descent of the Holy Sun naturally left the Holy Ghost Church overjoyed. Do you finally believe me now? Hua Yuao's voice rang out again in Yu Gi's mind. Yu Gi clenched her teeth. Believe what? Believe a wicked evil soul master like you? Hua Yuao sighed softly. How do you still not understand what's going on? If I am truly that wicked, why are my summoned creatures not afraid of your holy element? If I truly wanted to harm you, would I even be bothering to chat so much shit with you? Look. As he spoke, the enormous spectral door suddenly grew even larger, accompanied by the deep stamping sounds of horses. Tall knights began to walk onto the tournament stage. These knights all wore deathly grey armor, and had faintly golden orbs of spirit fire pulsing within their helmets. The war horses they rode only had bones, but they were incomparably large, and left trails of golden fire behind them as they marched forward. Only 3 knights appeared, but the pressure that each and every one of them exuded was much greater than the spectral creatures that had previously appeared. After these 3 knights appeared, they immediately rode in 3 different directions. As though they had found their masters, the low-ranking undead creatures that had been previously summoned started to congregate in these 3 directions as well. Immediately afterwards, the undead became increasingly oily under the commands of the 3 knights. As a result, Yu felt an even greater amount of pressure. As a possessor of the angel martial soul, she had done more research on evil martial souls than almost anybody else. Naturally, she knew what these undead creatures were. These were death knights, undead creatures which were naturally at the soul emperor level of power. Yu wouldn't be afraid of a single death knight. After all, being a soul emperor herself, she was confident in her abilities to purify them using her angel's abilities. However, 3 death knights had appeared at once. Not only were they as powerful as soul emperors, they could even command the other undead creatures from the spectral door to form a true army. In reality, with Hua Yuao's current capabilities, the unique martial soul that Electrolux had left him was no weaker than the combined strength of his other 2 martial souls. The reasons for this were very simple. The spectral demiplane that Electrolux had left him to conveniently summon from was one. But more important was his powerful spiritual power. In the world that Electrolux came from, spiritual power was the main factor that determined the strength of magic, as well as the duration that it could be used. While using his unique necromancer martial soul, his true strength was at the level of a soul sage. Furthermore, he was as powerful as an evil soul sage. To boot, this was an ability that he couldn't use in the open, but one that he could use as Tang Wu. At this moment, even the distant Elderson was dumbstruck, much less the onlooking audience. He was also unable to comprehend how Hua Yuao was able to use the abilities of an evil soul master that were nonetheless filled with the element of light. Yu Gi's expression became increasingly uglier to look upon. She could clearly feel that her soul power was being depleted rapidly as she killed these spectral creatures. If this continued, she would be ground down by the large numbers of spectral creatures that she could easily beat in one-on-one fights. Furthermore, there was a question that was stuck in her mind. Why aren't these spectral creatures afraid of my holy martial soul? There were no more undead creatures emerging from the spectral door. However, even the ones remaining on the stage left her in a very dangerous situation. The 3 death knights were coldly staring her down as they commanded their underlings. Moreover, they would occasionally fire out death lights to revive the undead creatures that she had already killed. It was like she had entered a never-ending cycle of death and rebirth. At the same time, a deep incantation filled with an aura of mystery once again rang out. This incantation came directly from the enormous spectral door, which was trembling violently at this moment. Large amounts of golden green light started to roll about in the surroundings, and the spectral door was unexpectedly expanding yet again. Not good. Yu Gi's expression suddenly changed. Is he going to use an even stronger move? She knew that she couldn't wait any longer. She finally started to regret revealing her angel today. However, this regret only lasted for a brief moment before going away. If not for her extremely sturdy willpower, she would definitely not have been able to control her angel. Yu proudly raised the longsword in her hand, letting out a sharp whistle as she did so. Immediately afterwards, the 7-star sword suddenly combusted. The sword, which was made completely out of rare metals, was unexpectedly starting to melt due to Yu Gi's holy soul power. Moreover, the holy golden light she emitted started to turn a golden red. An enormous, blazing ball of light appeared behind her, and her pure white wings started to unfurl. However, this new pair of wings wasn't as tactile as her previous ones. Instead, they were made of light. Even so, the undead creatures that were made of light were filled with fear, to the point that they were shaking in their boots. Even the death knights were left in the same state, no matter how hard they tried to resist. Yu Gi's pitch black 6th soul ring slowly started to rise above her. During this process, her soul ring started to release the same golden reddish light that was coming from her body, before slowly melting into her. The long sword that had melted within her hands and the light coming from her body congealed together, forming an enormous sword over 3 meters long. It felt like the light coming from this golden reddish sword wanted to pierce through the heavens and earth itself. Yu made her move. She took a step forward in midair and whirled around, causing the enormous sword in her hands to dance about. The 4 angelic wings behind her flickered with light, making her look ever so beautiful. This was her 6th soul skill, angelic dance. By relying on the strength of her martial soul, Yu was able to forcefully bring herself to a level of power near that of a soul sage's martial soul true body for a short period of time. The holy sword in her hands had transformed into a holy sun sword, and any undead creature it touched immediately turned into dust. The 3 death knights quickly grouped up and charged fearlessly towards her. However, they couldn't even last 3 seconds against the holy sun sword before being vaporized by its terrifying light. Below the stage, the titled Douluo from the Holy Ghost Church started to reveal expressions of panic on their faces. Their evil martial souls were actually starting to tremble slightly due to this young girl, who wasn't even a soul sage. It was no wonder that the angel was known as their greatest nemesis. This was way too powerful. Once she slew the last death knight, Yu fiercely beat the 4 wings on her back. A vast amount of holy light surged out from her body, and with her hands gripping her sword, she leapt into the air. The golden red light from her sword filled the sky, and she launched an incomparably powerful slash towards the enormous door of light. Her tender face was filled with an unwavering look of determination. At this exact moment, the light in a 50-meter range surrounding Yu and the spectral door started to twist, causing everything to turn blurry. Nobody from the outside world could see what was going on the stage. Only Yu could see, to her astonishment, that an enormous pair of golden eyes had appeared within the enormous spectral door. Right after that, she felt an extremely powerful force slam into her tenacious spiritual world. Her petite body trembled, instantly depleting nearly half of the strength contained within her angelic dance. A golden figure walked up to her. This figure was extremely elegant and peerlessly beautiful, and was filled with a boundless amount of light. There was no deathly aura present on this golden figure at all. Her long hair fluttered about behind her, and her pure golden body seemed to be filled with a boundless life force. Furthermore, Yu unexpectedly sensed a holy aura coming from her. This was a holy aura that was somewhat similar to hers, yet was very dulled down in comparison to her own. In an instant, this golden figure slammed into her. Yu's aura instantly dispersed. At that moment, she finally believed Hua Yuao. Nothing of what Hua Yuao had previously said had made an impact on her. However, it was impossible for anybody to falsify a holy aura, much less an evil soul master. Even a faint trace of it could only be produced by an extremely pure person. Hua Yuao's voice once again rang out in her head. Do you feel it? Yes. Good. The two conversed for an extremely short period of time. Right after that, the arena underwent huge changes. The originally twisted light within the arena suddenly became clear. Countless thick chains attached to sharp sickles shot out from the violently trembling spectral door. On the other hand, the previously incomparably powerful Yu was now floating in midair. Her body was covered in a deathly grey light, and her pupils had dulled. Her back no longer had 4 wings, but 2. The thick chains and sickles pierced through her body, firmly locking her in a prison of chains. It seemed as though she had completely lost her soul, and the fresh blood trickling from her body evaporated into countless streams of greyish black air. Suddenly, all of the thick chains pulled back, dragging her body into the extremely terrifying spectral door. The spectral door finally shut. The instant it shut, however, it seemed to transform into a ghastly and sinister mouth that started to chew loudly. The entire field was completely silent now. An absolutely overwhelming number of people felt absolutely horrified and started to sweat down their backs. A crack appeared in midair, and the spectral door subsequently vanished quietly. Amidst the flickering light, the 2.5-meter tall metallic figure once again appeared on the tournament stage. At this moment, the stage was completely silent. The metallic figure stood proudly, but everyone looking at him felt as though he was filled with a sinister aura. They couldn't help but lower their gazes as they looked at him, not daring to look directly into his face. Moreover, the pupils in his mask that were originally flickering with a dull, golden light had turned blood red. Is there anybody else? A ghastly voice rang out from his mask. This voice was eerie, ice cold, and contained a sort of pressure that could intimidate one's soul. The entire field was silent. Even Yi Lin, floating up in midair, felt his face twitching. Even at his strength, he'd suddenly realized that a few traces of fear had sprouted in his heart towards this unfathomable youth. An evil soul master. He's actually such a powerful evil soul master. Just why is a genius soul engineer like him an evil soul master? Yi Lin was feeling pains due to the inner struggles in his heart, but he knew that the Holy Ghost Church would definitely not give up on an evil soul master like this. Furthermore, he wasn't willing to take in an evil soul master as a disciple. Suddenly, the sound of clapping rose up. Huo Yue looked towards the source of that sound, and what he saw was a pair of greyish blue eyes filled with an otherworldly sense of beauty. Moreover, the owner of this pair of eyes was the vice leader of the Holy Ghost Church. Right after she started clapping, the other 4 elders from the Holy Ghost Church started clapping alongside her with fervor and passion. The crowd in the arena was extremely large, and only the 4 of them clapping was a strange sight. Indeed, however, this roused the awareness of everyone else present. He had won. Tang Wu, who was representing the Duskwater Alliance, had won the Radiant City Elite Soul Engineering Tournament. Yi Lin landed on the tournament stage and looked at Huo Yue with a complicated look in his eyes. He suddenly felt an urge to drop the Sun Moon Divine Needle in the sky to eradicate this fellow in front of him. This person was a genius soul engineer and a genius evil soul master at such an age. Would the Empire truly be able to control him in the future? Moreover, just how greatly would the Holy Ghost Church flourish in the future with a genius like him in the younger generation? However, Yi Lin didn't dare to do so in the presence of the 5 evil titled Douluo who were staring intently at him. What Huo Yue had revealed to the various powerhouses was talent. However, there was still a great difference between him and these titled Douluo and Class 9 soul engineers when it came to power. Yet, he was able to rely on the mentality of the masses and the evil soul masters, along with the 3 underground powers, to control the entire situation. The evil soul masters had become his protective umbrella. An indifferent smile started to surface on the face below the golden mask. So many pleasant surprises had occurred today. Huo Yue was especially pleased with his performance today. He finally felt as though he had truly understood the various abilities that he possessed. After all, he was still a youth. He was inwardly screaming to himself, "Call me the ever-changing Huo Yue." The Duskwater Alliance's Tang Wu wins. Yi Lin's complicated gaze finally returned to normal as he stiffly announced the result of the tournament. On the other hand, the instant this result was announced, the Alto Chamber of Commerce and the Common Alliance, who were originally displeased, were now completely silent. Unexpectedly, no one jumped out to contest the results of the tournament. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.